everyone. Welcome to another Something Bad Thursday. And today I thought it would be interesting to discuss something that is a little bit more general, as opposed to being specific to film or to music or to any kind of entertainment, which is usually what I focus on my channel. So I'm trying to open up the envelope here a little bit and discuss something that's a little bit more general. And I'm going to kind of explain my reasoning behind my understanding of why I believe trends in particular are mostly negative, or I think have really negative connotations to them. Now, trends, again, I'm not saying that people who like certain trends are bad. Absolutely not. Nothing about people in particular. I'm more addressing the trends themselves in their respect to sort of forcing that trend onto everybody else. And saying that everybody else has to follow this trend and has to embrace it, because everybody else is doing it. Everybody else is doing the same exact thing, so therefore you have to do it too. So that's kind of the aspect of trends that I really want to focus on, and what I think is bad, and not something I think really positive for society. What do I mean by trends? These trends can be anything within entertainment, within social culture, with fashion, with technology. You know, there's a lot of trends out there that really do revolve around these things. That you see people developing very similar interests to one another. And you wonder if really that person genuinely likes what they like, even if it is a trend, or if people are liking it for the sake of pleasing other people who like it. And I think that's really the major issue that I have with trends, is that they try to force this mentality onto everybody. And I'm not really necessarily discussing philosophy or ways of approaching life, as more as I'm talking about things that people like to associate themselves with, like, let it be certain sport, a certain kind of entertainment, a certain kind of social setting, a certain kind of fashion, a certain kind of liking for certain technology. All those aspects, I think, have a tendency to impact people into believing that that's what they should like, instead of focusing on what they really do like. And I think as a result, we get these trends massively continuing, because everybody just follows the crowd and doesn't try to think outside of their own box, or everybody else's box, technically, because everybody kind of wants to be in the same box because they want to follow everybody else. And I think it's for a large part of it has to do with acceptance. I think acceptance socially, and I think that this really stems largely in part within people's teenage years. Especially when teens are so influenced by their peers and by the people that are their age. And I guess kids too can have a certain degree of trends, but I think those trends are fairly normalized, um, and I don't think are really heavily enforced upon kids as much as they're enforced upon teenagers and adults. Because usually kids don't care. Kids will play with whatever they want. But teenagers and adults, I think, are a little bit more influenced by their social circumstances and surroundings. Maybe adults to a certain less of a degree, but I think still, I think that these kinds of trends are usually centered around teenagers and adults. And I think a lot of it has to do with this idea of social acceptance. Instead of looking at what you like, you look at what everybody else does and likes, and you follow it, and you completely embrace it and don't question it. And I think that's a really big problem, because I think people should be allowed to think for themselves and come up with their own conclusions, and make their own choices, and yeah, there may be certain consequences maybe for maybe not listening to somebody else who maybe has a higher authority than you. Yeah, sure, of course. But largely these trends, I think, are really from negative influences rather than positive influences. And I think they're intended to get money. I think that's the big thing that trends hype themselves up for, is the idea that they're going to get some return on investment, because if we can get everybody to like our product, we'll have more money. And I think that's the most logical, sensible thing. People will, in masses, embrace something if it's popular, and then maybe not question its quality. And I think that's sort of that sort of becomes an issue when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to technology. Is really Mac better than PC? Just because I wear a certain thing, why does that make me suddenly within a certain social group or setting? Why can't I just wear what I like? Why do I have to have an identity like somebody else? Why can't I just be me? And I think that's the question I've always kind of asked myself growing up, and especially during high school, and when I really did see a lot of people just following the crowd, just going along with what everybody else was doing, and not questioning things for themselves, like just doing things just for the sake of doing them because everybody else does them, and there's no questioning. And I think that's a problem. I think just going along for the sake of going along with what everybody else does and being the same is it doesn't allow I think people to establish their own identity, because they're constantly thinking about, well, what do other people think, or what do other people find appealing? Oh, I should have this because everybody else does, or oh, I should like this film, or I should like this thing because everybody else does. I won't be excluded. And I think those who really do appreciate you those people who really do value you as a person, they wouldn't judge you based on what trends or you follow or don't follow. They should judge you based upon the person that you are, not on what the clothes you wear or the, it's all about character. It's really all about who you are as a person. That's really, I think, the heart of it. And I think people have lost that because they think that, people will like me if I am a certain way. And the thing is you don't need to get a ton of people to like you. You don't need to have all of this attention just for the sake of having attention. There's really there's only going to be a few people in each of our lives that are really going to have an impact on us. I mean, that's just how it is. We're not designed to connect with tons and tons of people. It's just not possible, I think, for the human species to do that. But the important thing is to find genuineness with yourself, and not trying to put up a mask for everybody else. That's, I think, the important thing that I wanted to emphasize is that the important thing is to remain true, I think, to you, and don't like something just because somebody else does. And can imagine how boring it would be if everybody liked the exact same thing. Can't imagine how boring, how uninteresting, the world would be without differences. Like it would just be, you would just wake up every morning and then everybody would be wearing the same exact thing and talking the same exact way and come from the same exact culture and the same exact understanding of, life. And, can't imagine if everybody tried to be the same, if everybody tried to conform, to one standard, whereas if we started looking more into ourselves instead of looking at other people, then we really will, I think, find genuineness not only within ourselves, but we'll find genuineness within other people. And it's not going to be a whole lot of people. It's only going to be a few. But those few are really what's going to matter. It's going to matter at the end of the day. So that's my whole understanding. Just be honest with yourself. Just say, it's kind of like what I say a lot of times on my channel. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to say that I like something if I don't. Because that's lying, and that's not being honest, and that's not being genuine. And I think that's my point, is just discover who you are and discover what you like, discover what you don't like. Even sometimes I still struggle because I know that I struggle in particular because I have a personality that allows me to see through multiple people's perspectives. So it's hard for me to, again, come back to that identity. Michelle, identity, hello. But again, I really don't follow a lot of trends. But at the same time, I do sometimes maybe go with the flow, sometimes too much. But again, I think it's just important to stay genuine and don't put on a show, don't put on a performance, just be you. Focus on you And the more you focus on yourself, I think the more value people will see and the more genuineness you will get in return from other people, instead of this fake, this fake this fake friendship following. It's just kind of like the Facebook following. You're not going to find genuineness on Facebook. You're going to find it through conversations with people. You're going to find it through having experiences. Those are the things that really matter, and that really do make an impact. Not in how much, how many people or how many friends you have, or how many, that doesn't matter. What matters is that you stay true to yourself and realize that, genuineness only can come from you for yourself. And that genuineness will start to reciprocate once you start thinking for yourself. And that's just sort of my advice. I mean, you can take it or leave it, and I'm not saying that all trends are bad, but I do see a lot of negative connotations with it. And the things that I've highlighted in this video, I think, really explain this. But I think, though, that's really all I can say. If there are any questions, comments, concerns, I would be more than happy to answer them. I'm totally open to what anybody has to say in regards to this topic, because it is fairly broad. I mean, I'm not trying to hone in on something specific, but what I am saying is that I think if more people follow their own path, we would find more genuineness and other people following their own paths. And as a result, those paths will collide and will, I think, as a result, have more fulfillment in life. But again, that's just my opinion. You can take it or leave it. But ultimately, I think that's really all I can say. But if there are any questions, comments, concerns, more than happy to answer them. I hope you all have a great day, week, month, and year. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.